I'm Justice Dirk Sandifer of the Montana Supreme Court. This video is intended to demonstrate 5 ways you can properly serve documents: mail service, personal service, service by sheriff, service by process server, and service by publication. Let's watch each of these in action.
This video contains helpful legal information, but is not legal advice. It is for general information purposes only. You are encouraged to talk to an attorney about your specific case or visit a self-help law center for more information. When preparing to serve documents, first contact a self-help law center to ensure that you have all the correct documents you need to serve the other party. It would also be helpful to read Rule 4 of the Montana Rules of Civil Procedure, which explains the methods of service. After you've done that, you need to file your documents with the court. You can find more information about filing documents in our best practices for filing video, or by contacting a self-help law center. If you or the respondent are under the age of 18, are a corporation or partnership, or have a legal guardian, different rules may apply. Method 1. Mail delivery. The first way that someone can serve the other party is through the mail. If you choose this method, you must include a copy of the document you are serving on the respondent, 2 copies of a notice and acknowledgement form, and a return envelope with postage prepaid addressed to yourself. The respondent must sign the notice and acknowledgement forms and mail them back to you. You can find these forms at courts.mt.gov. It is a good idea to use certified mail when mailing the documents to the respondent. Service is effective on the date the respondent signs and dates the notice and acknowledgement. Pros: service by mail is low cost and can be done quickly if the respondent is willing to cooperate. It also does not require a face-to-face interaction. Cons: the respondent can choose not to cooperate and refuse to sign the notice and acknowledgement forms. If a person served by mail does not complete and return the notice and acknowledgement within 21 days, service must be made in person. Let's talk about the ways you can serve someone in person next.
Service by a non-party to the action.
It is possible to have another person who is 18 years or older and not a party to the action serve the documents for you by delivering the documents to the respondent personally. The respondent must sign notice and acknowledgement forms in order for service to be effective. Pros: you can have someone other than yourself serve the papers on the respondent for free if the respondent is cooperative. Cons: if you are worried about your safety, personal service may not be the safest way to serve the documents. Additionally, personal service is easier for respondents to dodge than the methods we'll discuss next. The third way that someone can serve the other party is through the sheriff. This is done by giving the sheriff's office copies of all the file documents that are required to be served, along with the form called Request for Sheriff to Serve Documents. In this form, the petitioner will provide information about the other party so that the sheriff can locate them, generally at a home or business. Pros: the respondent cannot refuse service from a sheriff when approached. Once the sheriff has served the respondent, the sheriff's office maintains a record of the service. If you are concerned for your safety, service by sheriff is a good option. Cons: the sheriff's office requires a fee for service. You may be able to use a fee waiver if you cannot afford to pay the sheriff. There's no guarantee of when the sheriff will serve the papers. Service by sheriff is not discreet. Additionally, a location must be provided to the sheriff for them to serve the respondent, and the respondent must be at the address upon the sheriff's attempt to serve. Method 4. Process server. The fourth way a petitioner can serve the respondent is through a process server. A process server is a third party, generally a business, that will serve the respondent on your behalf. This method of service is like that of a sheriff, in that they too will need copies of the documents and information about where they can find the other party and their physical description. Pros: a process server can serve the respondent much faster and often more effectively than a sheriff. Like a sheriff's service, the respondent cannot refuse service from a process server. Hiring a process server can ensure that your papers are served within Montana rules and regulations. Process servers are reliable and can serve people more discreetly than a sheriff can. Cons: process servers charge fees for their services. However, process server fees vary and in some cases could be less than the fees of the sheriff. Method 5. Service by publication. The fifth method of service is service by publication and can only be used in limited situations if the petitioner has unsuccessfully attempted to find the respondent. You should not perform service by publication unless you have tried other methods to serve the respondent first. This method requires the petitioner to ask the court to let them publish their service in the local newspaper. Once service through publication has been requested and court-ordered, the petitioner can publish their summons in a local newspaper. The summons must be regularly published in a newspaper for 3 weeks and mailed to the respondent with copy of complaint if possible. To obtain the forms you can use to request a service by publication, please contact a self-help law center. This method is a last resort, and with the advancements of modern technology, it is unlikely that someone can't be located. It is very expensive to publish in a newspaper, and service by publication is not permitted in all situations.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope it will be useful in helping you properly serve your documents. If you need further assistance, contact a self-help law center near you for guidance.